Welcome, everyone, to the Two Sided Truth Debate Podcast, where we debate it, defend it, and then you decide. A podcast where the facts are presented and you decide the winner. I am your host and moderator, Lisa Tracy. Our sponsors for this evening's podcast is The Flip Side with Lisa Tracy and Shy High Apparel. I'm so excited that you decided to join us this evening. Tonight, we have two debaters with opposing views, Demetrius Reddy and Michael Crenshaw, debating on the topic, R. Kelly and Diddy were both convicted. Who else should be charged? So here are the rules of engagement. Our debaters have four subtopics / rounds to debate, with an additional sparring round where our debaters will get a chance to ask each other questions and respond. With the exception of the sparring round, each round is 8 minutes long, which includes debaters laying out their arguments and presenting their facts. And then they will both have a chance to respond before moving to the next round. You, as the viewer, will vote. You will have a chance to vote on each round. We also encourage you to make comments in the chat, but we ask that you be respectful with your comments. Our debaters have worked hard to present their topics and to debate. This message is to our debaters and our viewers. It's okay to be emotional and passionate, but we want you to be respectful. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, etc. However, you can only cast your vote on the twosidedtruth.com. So at the beginning of this debate, we will have a winner because you would have voted. So let's begin. All right. So let's welcome our debaters, Demetrius Reddy and Michael Crenshaw. I always go to my left. So with that being said, Demetrius, please introduce yourself. Tell us what position you're on and on in the debate, and tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Demetrius Reddy. I am a husband, a father, a grandfather, a pillar of my community, and a person that genuinely cares. Today, I will be taking the controversial side and defending R. Kelly and P. Diddy.
All right. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. Please introduce yourself, what's your position in the debate, and tell our viewers a little bit about you and your position.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Crenshaw, and I am an educator, been an educator for 25 years, and I am taking the side that R. Kelly and P. Diddy are exactly where they belong, in jail. And I also want to say I want to thank you, Lisa, as well as Demetrius, for allowing me to share the podcast stage with both of you.
Thank you so much, very much. And I do want to make mention that Demetrius and Mike are both winners. They were, Mike actually won his debate last week. Should we legalize all drugs? And then Demetrius, I can't remember what exactly your debate was that you won, but it was against Michael. So we have both champions in the house tonight. So we're going to get it on this evening. So I'm really, really excited. Thank you all so much for gracing me with your presence. I truly appreciate that. So with that being said, I want to remind our viewing audience, remember your job is to go to the twosidedtruth.com and vote. You only are allowed to vote once without being subscribed or signed in. Subscriptions are free. They're free 99. We don't spam you. We only send you out one or two can't even think. We only notify you once or twice or so within the week, just letting you know we have some upcoming debate. So don't forget to subscribe to the twosidedtruth.com. Don't forget to vote on the twosidedtruth.com. So before we begin, I have a little bit of historical relevance for you that I'm going to lay out before we begin our debate round. For most of history, age gap relationships were not questioned. They were normal. Older men with younger women was often tied to status, stability, and social structure. But today, the conversation has shifted. It is no longer about age or legality. It is about power, influence, and whether true consent exists when one person holds significantly more control, whether through fame, money, or access. What some see as personal choice, others see as a potential imbalance. And in today's world, where our awareness of grooming and exploitation is higher than ever, those lines are being re-examined in real time. So tonight, we are not just debating relationships, we are debating responsibility, power, and where society should draw the line. Who else should be accountable and responsible? So to give you a little background, R. Kelly, 1994, Aaliyah, married Aaliyah, who was 15, marriage later annulled, 2002, charged with child pornography, acquitted in 2008. For years, multiple allegations surfaced, but not led to conviction. 2019, renewed attention, surviving R. Kelly documentary, convicted. 2021, convicted of federal charges, including racketeering and sex trafficking. 2022, sentenced to 30 years in prison. Sean Combs, major music executive and cultural figure since the 1990s, major music executive and cultural figure, 2023 to 2024, faced multiple civil lawsuits alleging misconduct. Some cases settled, others remain under legal review. Federal investigations and scrutinies have increased. And of course, Sean Combs and R. Kelly have been convicted, are behind bars. So my question is to my debaters, are y'all ready for that fire? All right. We have round one, fire starter. Light the match and state your case. With that being said, I'm calling out to all my viewers this evening, vote, vote, vote. All right. Demetrius, you have the floor. Round one, you have the floor. The subtopic is, should R. Kelly and Diddy have been charged in the first place? Before you move forward, I want you to know that the voting is open. The polls are open for this topic. Demetrius, you have all of 2 minutes.
Okay, everyone. Before I take my controversial position, I want to acknowledge that this is a sensitive topic that may involve real victims that may have experienced trauma or believe that they have been negatively impacted in some way. Nothing in my position is meant to minimize their experience or the pain that they may carry. Those victims deserve justice, dignity, and our full respect. My argument today is about how accountability works within the legal system to better protect the vulnerable and prevent exploitation from happening in the first place. The law already recognizes that parents and guardians have a duty to protect minors from harm. When that duty is knowingly abandoned in dangerous environments, the legal system has long recognized charges such as child neglect, endangerment, and failure to protect. My position is simple: accountability must extend to everyone who knowingly enables access to minors or the vulnerable, because protecting the vulnerable is not only a legal responsibility, it's a moral one. I believe strongly that R. Kelly and P. Diddy should have never been charged. If they are being charged, then everyone around them should have been charged. But that is my position.
All right. Thank you so much for that. All right. The polls are open, you all. The polls are open at the twosidedtruth.com. Michael, lay out your facts. Bring the fire.
All right. All right, Demetrius, I'm with you when it comes to accountability, and that's exactly why R. Kelly and P. Diddy are where they belong, which is in jail. For me, I am always a proponent of personal accountability. If I do something wrong, if I knowingly do something wrong, I'm not in the business of blaming anyone else. I'm not in the business of saying, you should come down with me and you should come down with me. The reason why I say that is because I'm a grown man. And for me, just speaking for me, being a grown man means that I should make sure that I hold myself to a very high standard when it comes to accountability. If I do something wrong, then it is my fault, okay? And I apply this logic to R. Kelly and P. Diddy. Both of them knew exactly what they were doing, okay? They had the power to shut everything down. by saying, no, I'm not going to mess with little kids. No, I'm not going to deal with little girls. No, I'm not going to, do human trafficking, sex trafficking in P. Diddy's case. I'm not going to do that. I mean, yes, I've heard the arguments in terms of, people placing their kids in certain situations, people placing themselves in certain situations. But at the end of the day, it is up to you to have the moral and ethical high ground to say, you know what? I'm not going to break the law. You know what? I'm not going to break any moral laws or ethical laws by dealing and doing child pornography and messing with little girls. All right. So, yes, I can understand people's position in terms of, well, this person did this and this person did that. At the end of the day, it was up to R. Kelly to say no. It was up to P. Diddy to say no. And because they did not take personal responsibility for their actions, they are exactly where they belong, in jail.
All right. Thank you so much for that. The polls are open, you all. The polls are open for this particular subtopic. Demetrius, are you ready to bring the fire? Are you ready to counter?
Oh, I'm absolutely ready.
All right. 2 minutes on the clock, and it's you.
Okay, the question is, you talk about personal responsibility. That's great. These guys weren't personally charged. These guys experienced RICO charges as if they were an organization involved in criminal racketeering. Okay. So, in order to be involved in criminal racketeering, there has to be an organization. Organization involves people. How is it that these individuals were charged with these racketeering charges as individuals? I can tell you how, because they trumped up the charges in order to convict these guys. If you wanted to hold these guys responsible for something that you allege that they did, then don't use the legal system to go out and manipulate laws. We already have laws on the book. You talk about playing with little girls or being with little girls. That's not what they were charged with. R. Kelly was also, when you take the legal system as a society, it's our responsibility to make sure that the legal system is doing its job. When the legal system is weaponized, as we've seen over the last few years, we've seen it weaponized to take down high profile people. We've seen it weaponized to take down presidents and things like that. And we sit back as a society and we cheer it on. But what we don't realize is that if you can take down a president, you can take down a mogul with trumped up charges. What makes you think it won't happen to John Q. Public next door? So it's always good when the legal system is weaponized until it's at your front door. And all I'm saying is, if you think they did something, if you think it was a criminal, a conspiracy, and all of this, then the parents were involved and they should have also been charged. And I don't think it was, but hey, if that's what you think, then charge them that way or charge those guys individually and give them their due process in court.
All right. Thank you so much. The polls are open, you all. The polls are open. You listen. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. We're streaming live, but you can only cast your vote on the twosidedtruth.com. You can only cast your vote on the twosidedtruth.com. The polls are open for this subtopic. Mike, would you like to counter?
Yes, ma'am, I would.
All right. Take it away.
See, the thing is, Demetrius, when it comes to bringing up charges can't be brought up if you didn't do anything. Charges can't be brought up if you're innocent. And the fact of the matter is, R. Kelly actually was in the Chicago portion of the case. He actually was convicted brought up and convicted on charges of child pornography. So kids were involved in this. The fact of the matter is, and I'll keep stating this point over and over and over, all both R. Kelly and P. Diddy had to do was say no. All they had to do was remove themselves from the situation. That's all they had to do. Okay. In R. Kelly's case, I mean, it was alleged that he was actually at Hyde Park Academy's campus. He was actually on Kenwood Academy's campus, dealing with little girls and talking to little girls and everything. And so, since that's allegedly the case, all he had to do was not go to those high schools. And then when you talk about, including other people in this, All R. Kelly had to do was say, you know what? Since all of you parents allegedly want to bring kids to me, let me go ahead and report you. Let me go ahead and report you to the police. Let me go ahead and report you to DCFS. Because I can speak on this one because I'm a teacher. The moment anybody reports any type of child abuse to a teacher or any school official, that teacher or school official automatically has to report to DCFS. And everybody would have investigated it because it's R. Kelly. Same thing with P. Diddy. Everybody would have investigated it. You know, if he would have just said, you know what, this whole prostitution thing or alleged prostitution thing, people trying to bring this to me, I'm not in it. So when it comes to laws and trumped up charges, all you have to do is remove yourself from the situation and say, I'm not going to do this stuff. If both of them would have done that, we wouldn't be talking right now.
All right. Thank you so much. The polls are open, you all. The polls are open for this topic. All right. I got some questions for you. Demetrius, 30 seconds. How do you protect against powerful individuals avoiding accountability due to influence or resources? 30 seconds.
Repeat the question, please.
How do you protect against powerful individuals avoiding accountability due to influence or resources?
Well, we're in a society where influence and resources matter. You can afford the best lawyers. You can have the best accountants, the best investigators. There's no way to really do that. The only way to do it is to weaponize the government, which is worse than the influence that we're trying to block from powerful people. When you take the legal system and you start manipulating it in order to link these people in, then that becomes a problem. We're all sitting back looking, what happened to Jeffrey Epstein?
All right. Thank you so much. The polls are open, you all. The polls are open. All right, Mike, got a question. If earlier cases did not result in conviction, what changed legally that justified later charges?
Well, I mean, when it comes to change, that means new evidence was found. I mean, that's usually what happens. Usually when charges are brought the first time and things don't work out, except for murder, because you can't do it with murder in terms of double jeopardy. Usually the case gets dropped initially, but then new charges, new allegations are found. And that's pretty much what happened, especially with R. Kelly with the documentary, right? So some new allegations were found. So that's how that usually works.
All right. Thank you so much for that. All right, you all, the polls are open, but they'll be closing soon for this subtopic. If you have not had a chance to vote, you want to go to the twosidedtruth.com. We are streaming live on all platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. But you can only cast your vote on the twosidedtruth.com. Subscriptions are free 99. How many people like free? Me. I love free, right? It's free. Exactly. It's free. Subscribe. You can only vote anonymously one time, but if you subscribe, you can vote as many times as you want. So yeah, join us and become a truther. All right. So listen, we've already done the fire starter, right? Y'all started the fire. Now we are ready to listen. We got a trial by fire. Face the heat and defend your position. All right. Before we move on to the next topic, I have some major talking points. U.S. law generally holds individual perpetrators criminally responsible, not third parties. However, there are cases where parents have been charged with child endangerment or neglect. Example, in multiple U.S. states, leaving a child in a dangerous environment can lead to criminal charges. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children emphasizes that parental supervision is a key protective factor. So the question is, where does protection end and liability begin? The next subtopic is for Michael. Parental responsibility versus criminal liability. Should parents who not knowingly allowed their children to be around powerful celebrities face criminal charges? Michael, you're up. You got 2 minutes.
All right. Well, based off of the question itself, the answer to that is no. And the reason why I say that is because we cannot assume that all powerful celebrities are criminals. We cannot assume that all powerful celebrities are bad people. We cannot do that, right? You just can't. For instance, if I have a son and, I want him to become better at basketball right now, and LeBron James has a camp, well, then I'm going to send him to LeBron James's camp. If I was lucky and blessed enough to know NBA, NFL players, or I was lucky and blessed enough to know musical artists, and I had the opportunity and they wanted to help my child, then I would allow my child to have the opportunity to be coached by them. We can't. While I understand that there are some celebrities who have committed against humanity and committed crimes against society, based off the question, you cannot automatically assume that all celebrities are bad and all celebrities do things wrong, because now at that point you're creating a slippery slope and you don't want to generalize. So yes, I'm not ignorant to the fact that there are powerful people out here who use their power to commit crimes and get away with crimes and things of that nature, and that definitely includes celebrities. With that said, when we cannot group all celebrities into one box. So my answer to that would be no.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, Demetrius, lay out your facts. Bring the fire. 2 minutes. Would you like for me to repeat the question?
Yes.
All right. Let me get down to my screen. All right. The question is parental responsibility versus criminal liability. Should parents who knowingly allowed their children to be around powerful celebrities face criminal charges?
Absolutely. Absolutely. These people, remember, R. Kelly, P. Diddy are being charged for racketeering. I'll go back to racketeering, criminal organization. That means some other people are involved. Why are they the only ones charged? That's what we have to really ask ourselves. Why are they the only one charged? Someone had to be a system in their everyday ventures. If we're saying that they did what we're saying that they did, you keep bringing up minor children. Neither of these gentlemen were charged with minor children. One thing we have to do as a society is we have to identify who do we consider as vulnerable. And if we consider people as vulnerable, for example, women and children, then there's a responsibility to protect women and children. If we protect women and children, then if we put them in a position, they need to be protected at all costs. We can't just, I'm going to send my child into a supposed lion's den, and then when he gets bit by a lion, then I had no idea what was going to happen. No, you're responsible, because we can't assume all celebrities or all wealthy people are bad, but we can't assume that these people are vulnerable and you had a responsibility to protect them and you didn't. So you can't push them out and then responsibility, and then next thing you know, it's a money grab towards these people. Because you notice one thing, it's never criminal charges that these people go after. It's always civil lawsuits. It's always civil lawsuits that's lacking evidence. And you ask, you mentioned that R. Kelly and P. Diddy got charged because new evidence. No, this evidence was already around. They got charged because they were targeted by the public campaigns to lock those guys up. And you got to ask yourself why. And we can talk about that, but you got to ask why.
All right. Thank you so much for that. All right. The polls are open. The polls are open. You can watch on LinkedIn, Facebook, social, YouTube. Where else are we? Twitter, all of those things. But you can only cast your vote on the twosidedtruth.com. Subscribe to us. I promise you, we don't spam you, but you will get notified of a debate that's coming up, and that's it. We're not sending your information to third parties or anything like that. Subscribe to us at the twosidedtruth.com. This poll is only open for a few more minutes. Mike, would you like to counter?
Yes, ma'am, I would.
Right.
And my good brother Demetrius, you actually said it at the minute and 10-second mark. You said it, that no, not all celebrities, are bad, and not all celebrities are terrible. So you actually said exactly what I've been saying, and you actually refer directly to the question itself, because the question itself is: should parents who knowingly allow their children to be around powerful celebrities face criminal charges? And I will stand on this: we cannot generalize. You cannot say that all criminals are bad. I mean, and I will say that yes. I mean, as a parent, you should make sure that you are watching out for your kids, and you should make sure that you are paying attention to your children, especially if you do go send them to a basketball camp or a football camp, or if a singer or a songwriter or a rapper wants to work with your kid in the studio. You should be there. I'm not arguing that point at all. My point is, yes, you should be there. And yes, you can watch over that celebrity. But the thing is, that doesn't mean that celebrity is a bad person. Right? It doesn't mean that a celebrity is a criminal. We have to stop saying that all people are bad, that all celebrities are bad. We have to stop going into a situation thinking the worst, because not everybody is bad. And going off the question itself, going off the subtopic, my answer, and I will stand strong on that, is unequivocally no. We should not do that. We should not automatically make parents face criminal charges just because they are around a celebrity, because we have to stop assuming that all celebrities are bad and all celebrities are criminals.
All right, Demetrius, would you like to counter?
Absolutely.
All right, 2 minutes.
Okay. It's not the point of all celebrities being bad. It's the point that you have a responsibility to protect your child. Now, you say something like, "Oh, if they go to a basketball camp." Well, the basketball camp, we're expecting basketball to take place. We're expecting adults to be around. We're expecting there to be protection already for the child. My daughter plays basketball, and I'm there on a regular basis to protect over her because she's a vulnerable person that I've already recognized. But what I won't do is if Michael Jordan or anyone says, "Hey, let your daughter sleep over at my house so she can get some extra practice," will that happen? And when you start seeing the behavior of parents being complicit in this type of thing, it sounds like a money grab. It sounds like I'm going to put my child in, I'm going to use my child as bait. I'm going to put my child out, my vulnerable child, in this position. And if anything goes wrong, if they don't become the celebrity that they say, then next thing you know, there's going to be some random charges that come up. We saw that happen in the Michael Jackson case. And it seems like this is a pattern that happens against these type of high profile individuals. But I have a major problem with parents being involved, and I think that behavior, they shouldn't automatically be arrested, but their behavior should be inspected, and they should be scrutinized. And if they are found to be in violation of the law, they should go to jail. And when you take a person and you charge them with criminal conspiracy, oh yeah, if you bring in children and dropping them off at my island, you are responsible. Absolutely. And you should be in jail. If we're talking about racketeering.
Thank you, Demetrius. All right. We have some questions. We have some comments. All right. So Reggie says a 30-plus-year-old man filmed himself peeing on a prepubescent girl. Read that out loud 3 times and say with a straight face he shouldn't be in jail. Anybody want to comment on that?
I agree.
Yeah, I'll comment. Which time he had a trial, a full trial on it, right? He had a full trial. The legal system failed. For whatever reason, the legal system failed. Whether he should be in jail or not isn't my argument. Whether he should have faced charges again for the exact same thing. If you allow somebody to be found not guilty on a crime, and then no new crime has occurred, and then we all talk about double jeopardy, but do you really know what it means? And then all of a sudden, you take these liberal states and you go and you convict them in these situations where they've let off all types of other criminals and much more heinous crimes, and all of a sudden, you're trumping these charges up to get this guy. Okay, that we don't think that's bad. Absolutely. If he did what they said he did, he should have been found guilty in the first one. And if he did not do it, he didn't pee on. We talking about the same case from the 90s that he got found not guilty on. He just got 20 years again. Do anybody know what double jeopardy is?
Okay. Thank you so much for that. All right. Got a question for you. Mike.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If earlier cases did not result in conviction, what changed illegally? Oh, I'm sorry. I asked that already. My bad. Let me move to. I asked you that. All right. If parents knowingly allow their child into risky environments, why should they not be held accountable? 30 seconds.
Well, I mean, when it comes to risky environments, we have to make sure that we define what risky really is. That's the first thing. So we have to make sure that we have a clear understanding of the definition of risk. Now, I'm not going to be completely ignorant and immune to reality. Obviously, if somebody is a child predator or they're a murderer or something like that, I would hope you would not allow your child into that situation. But with that said, if risk is just some trumped up imaginary charges, then there's nothing wrong with that.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Demetrius, what specific actions would qualify as criminal negligence versus poor judgment? 30 seconds.
We already have laws on the book. If laws on the book are broken, then we should scrutinize those laws that are on the book, and charges should take place based on the laws on the book. What we shouldn't do is take criminal racketeering charges that we use to take down mob bosses and get somebody because we couldn't get them with the regular charges. Do your job as a police officer, as a prosecutor, and come up with a legitimate case. Don't stretch the legal system to get people.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right. The poll will be closing in like a few seconds. We are moving on to our third round. Are y'all ready to get in the crossfire? Because that's where you're going. All right. This is the crossfire. Arguments. This is where arguments get tested and they crack under pressure. All right. How do you avoid? I'm sorry. Let me move up. All right, let's talk about this. I have a few things to say. Negligence is failure to exercise reasonable care, and complicity is knowing involvement in wrongdoing. U.S. law distinguishes between lack of awareness and knowing facilitation and knowingly facilitation. Studies show many abuse cases involve grooming, not just the victims, but of families. Grooming tactics often include trust building, financial incentives, and normalization of behavior. Subtopic number 3, Demetrius, are you ready to get in the crossfire? And so your arguments can get tested. This is where they crack under fire. All right. Subtopic number 3 is ignorance, negligence, or complicity. At what point does parental negligence become criminal complicity? 2 minutes, Demetrius.
Well, for example, when you have allegations ahead of time, especially sexual misconduct allegations, and then you have the parent being complicit by sending children into that environment unprotected or unsupervised. It's almost like you're turning a blind eye and saying, "Hey, we trust the guy that's already being accused of things, and if anything goes right, we can just get money out of them," because that's what it seems like. We talked a lot about the R. Kelly case, but we haven't really touched on the P. Diddy case.
That's true.
In the situation with the P. Diddy case, Cassie, an adult, is she a victim or is she complicit in the behavior? Well, when you couldn't get your 30 million or whatever amount of money that you request, oh, I'm having fun, I'm partying, I'm freaking off for years and years and years, and then I can act like I'm a damsel in distress and say, Oh my God, I was beaten. I'm going to tell you right now, over the last probably 10 years, we've changed laws. And one thing for certain, because I care about actual victims, there's been no studies that say, oh, there's been limited numbers of victims and that we are reducing the amount of victims, because we're not. All we're doing is we're creating more victims, and we're creating more environments where people become victimized. And the only people that get took down in the long run is people that got money, because Uncle Joe, Uncle Tom, Aunt Sarah, that does all of these things that are illegal, continue to perpetrate, and they continue to take advantage. A lot of times, these parents are absolutely responsible, and they should be in jail. I absolutely agree.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Okay, the polls are open, y'all. The polls are open. You can only cast your vote on the twosidedtruth.com. Subscribe to us. Sign up with us. We don't spam. We just send you what the next debate topic is. It will be coming up. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, but you can only cast your vote on the twosidedtruth.com. All right, Mike, you are up. Let me repeat that question for you.
Sure.
Ignorance, negligence, or complicity? At what point does parental negligence become criminal complicity?
For me, as you know, as I stated in the beginning, you know, I am always a proponent of personal accountability and personal responsibility, which was the main premise of what I was, you know, talking about. So taking that and leading into this actual question here, I believe that, you know, it becomes criminal complicity when a parent knowingly releases his or her child into the clutches of a criminal. And notice I said knowingly, because again, you want to make sure that you don't assume. You want to make sure that you don't go off, you know, rumor mill or what's been said in social media or public perception, right? You know, they can say something, they can say bad things about, you know, celebrity A, and then you don't send your child to work, you know, with celebrity A, but then everybody says everything great about celebrity B, and then you send your child into that lion's den, and then now your child's in trouble there. The thing is that if a parent, and I truly believe this, if a parent knowingly sends his or her child or children into a dangerous situation, that's, to me, is complete negligence, and that's when it should become criminal. However, if a parent doesn't know that, if a parent, you know, really, really, truly believes that his or her child is being taken care of in the right way by a, you know, celebrity, and the parent is right there, and you know, the celebrity ends up doing something to the child, well, I mean, that's kind of difficult to hold the parent responsible. But again, if the parent knows that this person is a criminal, then yes, that parent should be charged. But if the parent doesn't know, I mean, that's real difficult to do that to a parent. So that's my stance on it.
All right. Thank you so much. The polls are open, y'all. The polls are open for this subtopic at the twosidedtruth.com. You can only vote on the twosidedtruth.com. You can also come over here and watch the stream. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, you can come over here and watch the stream and vote at the same time. That's how we do it over here. All right, Demetrius, would you like to counter?
Absolutely.
All right, 2 minutes.
Mike just made me mad.
Oh no.
You have a responsibility as a parent to protect your child. It ain't about what's going on with this person. You have a responsibility to protect your child. Protect your child is absolutely acting like everybody out there may do something to your child. That's the reason why you lock your doors. You lock your doors because there are criminals that exist in the world, and they may come inside of your house. I protect my child because, hey, pedophiles exist. All kinds of people that are looking to take advantage of my child exist. So I'm going to be side by side with my child as much as I can be. If I could be in school sitting right by my child, I would be. And that's what protecting your child means. But when you really don't care because this person has money, and if everything goes wrong, I can just sue them and get money, damn my child and their psychological well-being. I can just get money and I'll be okay. My child is ruined forever because I didn't protect my child. But I can say, oh, well, they did it. Yeah, you're not accepting accountability for your behavior as a protector. As a protector, you have a responsibility. And if you aren't doing it and you're just sliding your child off, and here's the thing, what do you mean wait for them to have criminal allegations, criminal charges, become a criminal? The allegation itself should bring up a red flag. R. Kelly had allegations against him in the early 90s. That is a red flag. Michael Jackson had allegations against him. Whether they did it or not, that should automatically, as a protector, say, hey, you know what? If my child's working with him, I'm going to be right there. You're not spending the night, baby girl. No, no way.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. Mike, would you like to counter?
Oh, yes. Yes, I will. Yes, I
All
do.
right. All right. 2 minutes.
My response would be, first off, as a teacher, when I used to teach kindergarten, second and fourth grade, and parents were always welcome in my classes. So, brother, if I knew you back then and you wanted to come to my class, my door would be open. So I'm with you there. I'm with you on that 100%. In terms of allegations, my point is the allegations have to happen, right? What I'm saying is, let's say there is a celebrity that has no allegations at all, right? No allegations at all. Nothing. There's nothing that's been traced to this person. He or she has had a clean record. Nothing has happened at all. And then all of a sudden, a parent trusts this person to help coach or mentor his or her child, and that celebrity does something horrible to that child. I mean, horrible. I mean, at that point, it's really going to be difficult for you to say, you know what, parent, you should have known. Because again, if there are no allegations, if there's nothing there, you can't, it's really difficult to just say, I'm automatically going to suspect you. That's really hard to do, right? And so that's why I'm saying we have to make sure that we're careful of that. I'm not saying don't protect your kids. I'm not saying don't look out for your kids. Heck, when I was teaching grammar school, I would get on parents for, allowing their kids to walk 10 feet behind them when they were walking to the car. That was one of the things, Demetrius, that would frustrate me to no core, because I'm like, somebody could come up behind them and just take them. So I'm with you on that. With that said, we have to stop, assuming that everybody is terrible. That is a generalization. That is a fallacy. We cannot do that. Yes, protect your kids. Yes, be there for your kids. Yes, be overprotective of your kids. What I'm saying is, if that celebrity has had no allegations, no R. Kelly allegations, no P. Diddy allegations, no Michael Jackson allegations, none of that. If that person's had nothing, and then all of a sudden they do something horrible to your child, that's really tough to hold the parent accountable for that one. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me read some of these comments, and then I'm going to go to my questions for you all. All right. So I got some people in the chat that are responding, and the chat is hot.
I bet it is.
All right. Tanisha says, Sally, a lot of these people think just because they are celebrities, they are somehow trustworthy. These people are strangers. John says, did he just say not all criminals are bad? That made me chuckle a little bit. What would make them criminals then? And then someone said, she's a victim and she did get her money from Diddy in less than 24 hours. So she's talking about Cassie. That shows guilt on Diddy's end. She could have been complicit on some, but not all actions. And then she also said, hey, leave Michael Jackson out of this. And then Oliver says, R. Kelly married Aaliyah when she was 14 years old in 1994. And then Tanisha says, you got to protect your babies. If you really care about them, lock their up top. Child neglect and child endangerment. R. Kelly married a 15-year-old Aaliyah. How could parents not know he was sick? So we got our audience pretty heated about this. All right. I got some questions for you all. Who went? Demetrius, Mike, Demetrius. Okay. Demetrius, 30 seconds. How do you prove that someone should have known in a court of law? 30 seconds.
Well, you take, for example, if the person already has allegations against them, and you're not exercising your right as a parent to be uh, uh, cautionary, or if you do stuff like, oh, I'm gonna let my child go spend the night, sleep in a celebrity's bed, or I'm gonna allow my underage. We talk about how did Aaliyah get married? Where was her parents at? Where was her parents at? That's a problem.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Mike,
Yes, ma'am.
30 seconds. At what point does not knowing become a failure to act responsibly?
I think when it's willfully ignorant, when you have people who are willfully ignorant, sometimes you have people who just purposely blind themselves to reality. And when you have people that purposely blind themselves to reality, that's when the problems cause. That's when the problems start. You cannot be completely willfully ignorant to what's going on around you. And when you're willfully ignorant, that means you're purposely ignorant. And when you're purposely ignorant, that causes problems, not only for yourself, but your kids. So that would be my response to that one.
All right. All right. The polls for this subtopic are only open for a few more seconds. All right, y'all. We're getting close. We are at where we going? We are going to the Inferno. Round 4. It's on fire. We in full blaze. All right. The final blaze. The flames are high. Either rise or get burned. All right. Round 4. In most cases, the law focuses on individual responsibility, meaning the person who commits the crime is held accountable. However, there are existing laws where parents can be charged as child neglect, endangerment, or failure to protect, showing that in some cases, an action can carry legal consequences. The question is whether those laws should be expanded or more aggressively applied in situations involving access to powerful individuals or high-risk environments. On one side, expanding liability could increase accountability and prevention, especially if warning signs are ignored. On the other side, it could create a slippery slope where poor judgment is treated as criminal behavior and the legal standards become less clear. Courts often rely on concepts like knew or should have known, but applying that standard can be difficult and subjective. There is also concern about public policy being influenced by high-profile cases, which can sometimes lead to broader laws with unintended consequences. So the next topic is legal precedents and public policy. Would charging parents create justice or open a dangerous legal precedent? And Mike, you got the next topic, but before you go, you can only vote on the twosidedtruth.com. You can only vote on the twosidedtruth.com. All right, Mike, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Let's do it.
2 minutes.
All right. For those who may not be in the Chicago and the Chicagoland area, we have had, especially recently, we've had these things happen in the Chicagoland area called teen takeovers. And what teen takeovers are is that you'll have a whole bunch of teenagers that they'll get together on social media and say, we'll take over a certain neighborhood and cause havoc and cause ruckus. This just happened, a few days ago in the Hyde Park area, where teenagers just took over and they started wrecking cars, damaging cars, jumping on top of the hood of cars and just tearing up property. And so why do I bring that up? I bring that up because at some point, we have to stop blaming parents and we have to start blaming those who actually cause crime. In this case, teenagers should be held accountable. Teenagers should be arrested and they should be charged to the fullest extent of the law, right? It frustrates me, seeing stuff like this because people work hard for the things that they have. And so for teenagers to tear stuff up, that's really frustrating to me. And getting back to the question, if I'm a teenager, if I'm young, and I know that regardless of whatever I do, the parent is going to get charged, what do you think I'm going to do? Okay, I'm going to continue to do what I do because I'm never being held accountable, by the law, right? And so for me, at some point, we have to start actually charging teenagers, because if you don't charge teenagers with the crimes that they commit, then there's a good chance that they're going to continue to commit them. And if all you do is charge the parents, then as a teenager, I know that I can get away with stuff. So, so for my thing is, we have to make sure that we're actually holding people accountable. That's been my theme all night. Let's hold people accountable. And in this case, let's make sure that we hold teenagers accountable a lot of times, and not always the parents.
All right. Thank you so much. Demetrius, it is your time. Legal precedent and public policy would legal precedent and public policy, would charging parents create justice or open a dangerous legal precedent? 2 minutes.
Well, I think we should take it on a case by case basis. Parents are already being charged. So, yeah, it does create a dangerous legal precedent, but we create dangerous legal precedents every time we alter the law. But the law has to be altered as we go down society. Recently, there was a parent who gave his child or bought a gun for his child. His child ended up killing somebody, and the parent ended up getting charged. The particulars of the case: you knew your child had a mental illness, you knew your child was talking about killing people, and you still opened up the door for that child to get a gun. You made it hard. There was also a father who got like 30 years because he gave his keys to his unlicensed, uninsured driver that went and killed somebody or something like that. So parents get charged all the time. The thing is that we need to continue to charge parents when they are responsible. And the only way we know if they're responsible is we have to scrutinize them and look at it on a case by case scenario. Let's not take racketeering charges for criminal organizations, because the way I look at it is blame and accountability is like a pie, right? Sometimes you get half the pie, sometimes you just deserve a slice. But sometimes the whole accountability is in your hand. And in some of these cases, that's why on a case by case basis, we got to look at it. If you bring in your child and we ask you when's the last time you heard from your child, oh, I dropped them off at a person's house that had sexual allegations, that had a lot of money, yeah, you're responsible. You ain't talked to your child in 3 days. They're in another city. Come on, how old is your child? What? Yeah, and then you coming and you doing the money grab. Yeah, man, you part of it. You part of it.
All right. Thank you. All right. You can only cast your vote on the two-sidedtruth.com, the two-sidedtruth.com. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, you can only cast your vote here on the two-sidedtruth.com. Subscribe with us for free. All right. Mike, would you like to counter?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So in response, I can agree with that. I can agree with case by case basis. The thing though is, and it goes back to what I stated earlier, in terms of willful ignorance. There are some parents who are just willfully ignorant to what's going on in the world. It's not that they don't have the information at their fingertips. They just choose not to look at the information at their fingertips. I'm sorry. And so, yes, in those cases, definitely, you should be held accountable, because like I said, that's been my theme all night. Accountability is big in my world. I'm big on personal accountability and personal responsibility. With that said, though, we have to make sure that we are not always saying it's automatically the parent's fault. I mean, it could be something as, small, right, as, plagiarism, something like that, right? I mean, are we just going to automatically say, you know what, kid, you cheated and you purposely used ChatGPT/AI to complete your essay. All right, parent, it's automatically your fault. We have to be careful of that. And we have to be cognizant of the fact that, you know what, and I tell people this, kids aren't stupid. Kids are much more intelligent than a lot of adults want to give them credit for. Okay. Kids are very observant. They pay attention. They watch what we're doing as adults, and they really really pay attention to what they can and cannot get away with. Some, not all, because I don't want to generalize. And so because of that, we have to make sure that those kids who are doing bad things and doing dangerous things, we hold them accountable too. That is very important because, again, I can tell you, as someone who's in education, if you do not hold kids accountable, if they know they can get away with it, a lot of them will attempt to get away with it. So let's just make sure that we're holding kids accountable as well as we want to hold parents accountable.
All right. Demetrius, would you like to counter?
I just yes.
Okay. 2 minutes.
I find it wild that you want to lock kids up and throw away the key, but you don't want to lock the parents up that drop these kids over to be abused. Like teen takeovers. See, there's teen takeovers depending on what the teen does. Again, that's why I said case by case basis. We already have laws in place that we don't need to change. If your kid goes out and causes damage and your kid gets sued, trust me, you're responsible already. So we don't have to change that. We have those things. I'm seeing more in more recent times that we're changing it, and parents are being legally responsible for criminal acts that children are doing, especially when the parent is complicit in those acts. And all I'm saying is, if you're getting a kid a gun, you're giving a kid a car, you're putting kids in front of traffickers, you just trafficked your kid, especially when you're doing it with some expecting something to gain in the process. Oh, I just wanted my child to be a good violin player, so I dropped them off over Beethoven's house and to spend the night. No, bro, no, bro, you just trafficked that kid. Because why didn't you stay? Why didn't? Oh well, he didn't have any allegations against him. Yeah, your child was the first, and you didn't protect. You have a responsibility to protect your child and to protect all vulnerable. And if you're not doing that, then again, we need to identify your behavior. We need to scrutinize your behavior. And if it falls into the realms of criminal activity, we need to lock you up or financially hold you responsible for your actions or inactions. I 100,000% believe in that.
All right. Thank you so much for that. All right. One of our commenters say he literally married a child the parents knew. All right. Aaliyah's parents were in on it. Most of these parents knowingly give up their children to be sexual toys for these people. One commenter says, I think if they start charging the parents will start getting more involved in their kids' lives to at least know the company they keep, either jail or hefty fines and garnished wages. The father that got 30 years, he only told his son to back down the driveway, and the son took off and killed a family right up this block. I don't think the father should have gotten 30 years. All right. So, okie dokie. So, for this round, I am not going to ask any questions, but I do think it is time for our debate or die round. That's what I think it's time for. Yes. Listen, say it with your full chest, no scripts, just the truth. All right. This is our last round. This is our sparring round, which is time for 5 minutes. Demetrius and Michael get a chance to interact respectfully, ask each other questions, and counter. This is the last round. So you only have 5 minutes collectively. Let's keep it respectful. Whoever wants to go first, have at it. You got 5 minutes.
I want to go first on this one. So, because I want to ask my good brother Demetrius this, because you mentioned this earlier, that we really haven't had the opportunity to speak a lot about the P. Diddy side of things. So I'm interested to hear your side when it comes to P. Diddy. You know, what are your thoughts on whether or not he should be locked up or it should be other people should be blamed for his actions? I want to hear your thoughts on that.
No one should be blamed for P. Diddy's actions. P. Diddy should have been locked up for domestic violence. Um, not sex trafficking. But here's the thing. Recently, we've been taking all of these crimes that are on the books and we stretch them so you can literally pay for in a state where prostitution is legal. You can legally pay for prostitution, fly somebody out. Next thing you know, you're a trafficker. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is that about? And what we don't realize is that all of these laws, when we start changing these laws to get these high profile guys and to take their money, this is the same stuff that could be used against you 5 years later, 10 years later. A lot of times there's no evidence because it's past the statute of limitations that they've erased now. So somebody could literally make an accusation against you with no DNA evidence, no real evidence, and next thing you know, you're a trafficker. And now you got to defend yourself for that. And I got a problem with that. Whenever the legal system is being bent and manipulated, then that destroys society. And I find it weird that a lot of those places, think about where they always trying to arrest people. They take you to New York, they take you to California, and they take you to Chicago. Never have we ever seen a public campaign to get somebody where the district attorney went out. Well, we saw it against Trump, but we also saw the district attorney go out and say, if you have any allegations against R. Kelly, hit this 1-800 number. All of that's a money grab, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see where you're coming from, especially with the P. Diddy thing. You know, when it comes to P. Diddy, you know, one of his biggest mistakes, he made a lot of them, but one of his biggest mistakes is, you know, going from state to state. And as you know, if they believe that you're trafficking people from state to state, it automatically becomes a federal offense. You already know that. I'll tell you that. But the thing is, you know, when it comes to stuff like that happening, the thing that I tell people is that you have to be really, really careful of the actions that you're doing, because the one thing that I do agree with you on is that when the feds want to come after you, they're going to come after you. And when they want to come up with some charges against you, they will come up with some charges against you. So
it's our job to stop the feds, though. We can't just sit back and be like, oh, the feds do this and the feds do this. The feds are able to do that because we sit back in society and we say, oh, that's a guy that I don't like, so it's okay that happened to him. And I'm telling you, when they can do it to them, they can do it to you. We got to stop the feds from doing that stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm not arguing that point. My pushback is, and I've said this since day one, all P. Diddy had to do was say, I'm not doing that. All R. Kelly had to do was say,
doing, you know what though?
I'm not going to traffic people across state lines.
They never traffic. What is trafficking?
But that's what he was found guilty of. I mean, obviously,
what is trafficking? That's what I'm trying to tell you. If they're stretching the laws, then you can't do anything. I can't have sex with my girlfriend in another state without it being considered trafficking. All she has to do is make an accusation. Oh, he flew me out. Oh, we drove across state lines to a hotel in Indiana. It's now sex trafficking because they changed these laws to get people. Whenever laws start getting changed, needs to step up and say something about it. Not just because it's somebody, not only say something when they don't like you, when you don't like that person, but when you see wrongdoing happen by the legal system, we should, especially as people, we should be like, hey, watch that, because we've seen disproportionately how it affects us. And we be the main ones cheering it on. Oh, yeah, they got P. Diddy. He deserved, because he slapped that girl in the face, he deserved to have sex trafficking and RICO charges on him? No, sir. I've seen plenty of dudes slap. Well, I ain't seen plenty, but I've seen a few dudes slap people. They didn't get RICO charges in 30 and 40 and 50 years. Come on now. We're going way too far.
But you just said it. Us, right? You just said it, which is why we especially have to be careful with the things that we do. We have to be careful with the actions that we take, because you just said it now. You know that they looking at us, right? And so because of that, we have to make sure that we are doubling down and making sure that we are really protecting ourselves, and we are not in any way, shape, or form giving anybody the thought that we're doing something wrong. That's all I'm saying.
when the morality law, when the morality line keeps changing and shifting, and you keep doing what you always been doing, but the morality and the legal system goes on the other side, and you already makes you a criminal, that's the problem. The line is moving. It ain't like, oh, you going out to do crime. The line is moving,
Yeah.
trying to make you into a criminal.
All right. You all great, great, great debate. Great debate. All right, you all, this was our last topic, well, subtopic for this evening. I'd like to thank both Demetrius and Mike for coming out. As you all know, there has to be a winner at the end of the debate. And of course, the audience voted, and the winner is, drum roll, please. The winner is Demetrius Reddy. Congratulations, Demetrius.
Congratulations, brother. I am now 0 for 2 against you, Demetrius, man. But hey, you know what? It's all love, brother, because I love debating against you because you always bring the heat. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate the arguments that you brought today, my man.
Absolutely. I just want to say, because this is a sensitive subject, I thank you. I thank Lisa for having the platform where we can come out, share ideas. At the end of the day, we want to create an environment that has less victims. I think right now we have an environment that is perpetuating situations that's going to bring more victims. And ultimately, I don't want people to be abused. I don't want people to be trafficked, but we don't move the laws to make everybody traffickers. We need to figure out how to protect the vulnerable, identify and protect them, and we need to always protect them.
Well said. Well said.
Thank you all so very much. Listen, if you are gifted, and I'm sorry, before I say if you're gifted, Demetrius, you're going to be gifted a certificate to one of our sponsors at the flip side with Lisa Tracy or Shahar Apparel. Thank you to our debaters for debating. If you believe you can hold your own during a debate and you love presenting facts and you can civilly debate with passion, sign up to be a debater. Go to the twosidedtruth.com, scroll a little down and click the become a debater button. If you'd like to suggest a topic that you'd like to see debated, go to the twosidedtruth.com and click the suggest a topic button. I believe if you scroll down on your phone, it's right underneath the become a debater button. If you're on your computer, I think they're side by side. I would like to thank our audience for tuning in to today's debate. Join us for next week's debate where we're going to be talking, it's juicy, y'all. Next week, we're talking about can you be a nationalist and truly be a Christian? Join us for two debaters with opposing views, P.O. Keynes versus Charles Johnson III. If you want to keep up conversations going like this, check out our newsletter, The Flip Side with Lisa Tracy, where we bring you two perspectives to both sides of the story. Check us out at theflipsidewithlisatracy.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Like us on YouTube, subscribe here if you haven't, and check us out on Facebook as well. Thank you all so much and have a wonderful evening.